Right, this video I'm going to show you how to take the field measurements that we did the last week and turn them into actual scale drawing. This is a sheet of graph paper underneath a sheet of vellum, and I also have an architectural scale. So the graph paper is set to 1/4 inch equals a foot, and then I can use the 1/4 inch equals a foot scale for measuring things that are smaller than a foot. The first thing I want to do is start off with a vertical and horizontal datum. So I'm going to take a straight edge, and using one of the grid lines, I'm going to draw a construction line. So notice how I'm holding the pen to draw the construction line. I'm putting very little weight on the pen. And I have a really light construction line that I can start measuring from. I'm going to do the same thing for a horizontal line. And another really light line here, okay? So then I'm going to start referencing my dimensions that I have up here. So this says 8 feet 3 inches for the width of the room. So I can start off by just counting out the boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this would mean that the size of this floor plan would only be this wide. And so I'm realizing that I probably want this to be closer to 1/2 inch equals a foot instead of 1/4 inch equals a foot. So instead of using 1 box equals 1 foot, I'm going to say that 2 boxes is equal to 1 foot, or 1 box is 6 inches. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'll do the same thing in this direction. Count out the boxes: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. That should be in the same spot. So 2 boxes, and you can see that the grid line lines up right here. So I'm going to take my straight edge and line it up with that grid line and put it in another construction line. And then I need to measure over 10 feet 3. So I'm going to count up 20 boxes in this direction to do 10 feet 3. There we go, that's 10 feet 3. And make a construction line along the grid line there as well. So this boxes out the actual size of the room. And you see how it's not the same size as the original field measurements. And that would be normal because we didn't really bother with any kind of scale with this. We just kind of drew the approximate proportions of the room. And you always want to double check these and make sure. Now notice I didn't bother with the 3 inches. I would if I was doing this in CAD, but I'm not going to really bother with the 3 inches in a field measurement, depending on what I'm doing with it. If all I'm doing is just recording the space, then you can round this to the nearest foot. However, if I wanted to fit something really specific in here, then I want to be exact. So I'm going to show you how to do it exact. So this part of the scale right here, which has the section where you can measure inches, is what I'm going to use. I'm going to position the 3 inch mark, which is that first long tick mark past the 0, on the edge of the, oh, I'm sorry, I should be using 1/2 inch, shouldn't I? So let me find 1/2 inch, there we go. So I'm going to be using that 3 inch mark instead, because this is 1/2 inch equals a foot. So I'm going to put that so that that 3 inch mark is right on my original horizontal construction line. I'm going to do that in 2 places so that it remains parallel. So this would be the actual inside dimension of the wall. So that was 10 feet, that's 10 feet 3 inches. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the 8 foot direction. And I'm going to make dots in 2 places. just like that. All right, so now you can go back and erase that first line, just so that you don't confuse it. And now there's the true dimensions of the room, okay? Now I know that my walls, the exterior walls, are 2 by 6. And so I'm just going to draw that very simply by making the width of the walls on the outside, these 2 sides here, be 6 inches. So 1 box is 6 inches if 2 boxes is 1 foot, right? So that makes it easy. I'm going to do the same thing here. And then for the inside walls, those are only 4 inches. So I'm going to use my scale again and measure 4 inches over. So this is going to be 1 full inch past the 3-inch mark on the scale. Do that again down here. And while I'm at it, I have the scale in place, I might as well do the same thing in this direction. So I'm making a mark where 4 inches is in both of these directions. Now I'm going to use my straight edge to line up with the dots. And do that same thing in this direction here. These are all construction lines still. Okay, so those are the boundaries of the room, and those are the wall sizes. So let's get a closer look so you can see. There's the original. And there's the layout of the construction lines for the walls. So now I'm going to start putting in the rest of the features. So I would measure 6 feet 10 inches from here to here. 6 feet 10 inches. Need the half-inch scale. So I'm going to place this on the inside edge of the wall at 6 feet. And then mark where the 10-inch mark is, which is right here. And then in this direction, it says 6 feet 8 inches. So I'm going to put this in the opposite direction, place that 6 feet on the inside edge of the wall, and mark where 8 inches is. I'm going to take my straight edge and align it with those 2 points. And now I have the angled part of my wall. So notice that I'm not concerned about the length of that line. These are all construction lines right now, so it's okay for them to extend past the boundaries. What's more important is that I know where to place my pencil when I'm ready to draw the really thick object lines for the walls. So this is representing the inside edge of that angled wall. So I also want to make a thickness for that, and that's 4 inches thick. So I'm going to measure 4 inches in 2 places. There we go. And then I would continue and make the openings for the windows and so on. So what I'm going to do here is pause it, because I think I've given you some idea of how to use the measure off of the 2 datums we started with, the horizontal line and the vertical line. Always measure from the same. And then as long as you're making those lines parallel, you can continue to measure from the other line work. So I'll come back with another video, and we'll have all of the openings and the closet and stuff in place.